It's easy to hear your favorite artist on WFPK from wherever you are. Listen on your smart speaker, live stream from our website at WFPK.org from Louisville Public Media.
The 80s has resurged as a great period of music.
Consequence Podcast Network.
Welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with. It's the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org, Consequence, and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thank you so much for making your way here, checking out the series and the episode. Please do hit the subscribe button so you can keep up with all of the interviews that I put out every single week. That's 3 brand new interviews every single week to keep you up to date on your favorite artists, discover some new ones, know what's happening in the music world. Of course, you can do so at iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Acast, Podchaser, NPR, YouTube for the video versions, or again, anywhere you get your podcast from, including wherever you're listening from right now. I'm Kyle Meredith. Today, my guest, a flock of seagulls, going to be talking with Mike Score about string theory. It's the new collection of orchestral versions of the iconic 80s band's catalog. The frontman talks about giving some of the overlooked songs a bigger spotlight, such as the first single, Say You Love Me, which originally arrived on their 1995 album, and the story behind fan favorite Remember David. Mike's also going to tell us about how much he'd like to see a third orchestral collection, a trilogy, if you will, and even tips us off that he's working on both a long-rumored solo record and get this, the first new Flock of Seagulls record in over 25 years. So let's do this. Discussing string theory is Kyle Meredith with a Flock of Seagulls.
Hey, Kyle.
It is such a pleasure to talk to you. I've been such a fan of your band, and this new album, String Theory, is so good to hear these songs in this light. I know this is the second time around. It seems like you all have caught a bit of magic with this whole scenario. Is that just what led you to the second record?
Yeah, basically, you know, the company August Day that specialize in doing orchestral remixes and stuff like that, you know, they came to us for Ascension and we did it. And then they said it was good, it was successful. How about another one? So we're like, yeah, you know, this is a whole new avenue for us. It's orchestral. It's got a different kind of emotion to it, different kind of feel. Yes, we're up for it. So, you know, they picked Say You Love Me as the song they wanted to make as a single. And we just basically said, yeah, run with it. Let's see where you go.
Well, Say You Love Me, I mean, that came at a time in the 90s. When you know, fewer people were listening at the time. I thought that, you know, these moments offer that great opportunity to reclaim, because Say You Love Me was a great song. I feel like, anyway. It was, you know, it wasn't given the attention that it deserved, and here you kind of have that opportunity to do something again. And I feel like that maybe that's the case for the song selection this time around, especially when you've got a few of the bigger hits out of the way on the first record. Is it something that was on your mind at all to kind of, you know, be able to give the song its just due?
Yeah, well, it was really, like I say, August Day picked the songs, and they just said to us, these are the songs we want to do. What do you think? And to me, you know, Say You Love Me, if I'd have written that in 83, that would have been a number one.
Absolutely.
You know, so it's definitely, it's a second, you know, string of life for these songs, you know, and maybe now more people will listen because, you know, the 80s when it came out had kind of died off and new things are happening. But the 80s has resurged as a great period of music, you know, so I think people are more into listening to 80s again and than going, oh, you know, the 80s is gone. But I think now that people miss it and they go back and it's like, oh, we miss a bunch of great songs, you know, so here we go, orchestralize them and put them out.
I know there's a lot of the sounds. I mean, there's something about what you all did, what a handful of bands did that was so specific to the time. I mean, the songs are classics, but I can be transported in that way, you know, in a way that's maybe some other decades doesn't give me as much. And I know that's one thing I do appreciate about your all's music.
Cool. That's great.
Yeah. There's another one on here I want to hear about too with Remember David. I mean, so this one, even the original version, it always felt like it was prime action movie. Like I could hear that in an action movie, and the strings really only add to that. What were you going for? Were you going for anything specific when you all wrote that?
Remember David was, it's a long time ago, but I wrote that song for and about a friend of mine that had basically committed suicide. And I was really trying to give him an extra life in my eyes by writing this song about him. And, in fact, the whole album, Story of a Young Heart, was about him and how he felt, or, what I understood of how he felt. So Remember David, I think it was special for me. And to me, if a song is special to me, then that's all that matters about it. You know what I mean? If people don't like it, that's fine. It's still special to me. I mean, I write songs for myself, not for other people. And if they like them, that's great too.
Maybe it's because that message even hits. It's such a bigger part of the conversation these days when we're talking about suicide, when we're talking about mental health and depression. It seems like that's come more and more. So when I hear that song, maybe, it just even resonates more because I do hear that in the present tense more than the past tense with a song like that. Right.
It was just maybe, it was, I don't know, just ahead of its time a little bit. And people, maybe now if it went out and people understood what it was about, they'd go, oh, yeah, it's a great song.
Do you know, this is usually one of the grimmest moments for an artist, but do you plan on this being a trilogy at this point? Now we've got 2 string albums, and you haven't done anything off Dream Come True yet.
I don't know. That's going to be up to August Day and us, whether we can settle on a bunch of songs to do for the next one. I would like actually there to be a next one because I quite enjoy listening to the songs a way that I never thought of them. The orchestral way is not my way of thinking. I'm a synth basically player, with a bit of guitar, and that's the way my mind is. So when an orchestra comes in and does all that to it, I just go, wow, yeah, that's amazing. I would never have thought of doing that, But now that it's happened, I'm like, yeah, accept it. It's like accept it and work with it and try and make it better.
Yeah, it also just seems so natural. I mean, what you were doing with the synth, and you weren't just a synth band, but what you were doing with the synth and what strings bring to a song. I mean, it does seem like that is such a natural sort of partnership between the songs. Do you feel like that?
Yeah, because you know what? I'm not really a player, like a keyboard player or anything like that. So I have to play what I naturally think fits, So, and I keep it simple. And I think simple resonates when people are listening, and some people go, yeah, I love that. It's so tacky. They're brilliant. This. But otherwise, if you're just listening to a song and it's simple and it's natural, I think that lays on you much nicer, and that's the way I think the orchestra does. It feels like it should be like that.
Right. Well, it does come with beautiful results. I know I'm already asking about a third one, but I'd also, you've been talking for a few years maybe about that next solo record. Zebrata, is a few years old now. You've mentioned Space Boy might be a thing at some points. Do you think we'll be seeing that anytime in the future? Yeah,
I'm actually working on 2 albums. Space Boy will be a solo album, which is about halfway through, It's not going to be as tight or as stuff like a Seagulls album would be, because it's just me doing it, and I'm just going, I like this, I'm going to make it that. But I'm also halfway through the new Seagulls album, which hopefully early next year.
Wow.
No. I've got the songs, we're doing the recording, and yeah, it's coming.
I cannot wait to hear that. I feel like we are getting spoiled that now this is all big one ramp up for something new. That's very exciting. And 2 new things. I'll take that. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, Mike, thank you so much for continuing to do what you do. Your all's songs and sound has been so important to me. So congrats on the success that these strings album have come. I really do love hearing these songs and strings theory. So congrats, thank you so much, and thanks for taking the time to talk about it.
Thank you. Talk to you again sometime.
All right, take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
My thanks to Mike Score. The new A Flock of Seagulls album is called String Theory. Big thanks to you as well for checking out the episode. Hit that subscribe button before you get out of here. Again, I put out a new interview every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at all the usual spots, including iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Acast, Podchaser, NPR, YouTube for the video versions, or anywhere you get your podcast from. Just subscribe to Kyle Meredith with. After that, head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern, an hour full of song premieres, music news, anniversary spins, bonus interviews, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern at WFPK.org. Consequence has your music and film news. You can also find me on the social media spots, including Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all three of them at Kyle Meredith. I do hope you like and follow along. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.
Consequence Podcast Network.
It's easy to hear your favorite artist on WFPK from wherever you are. Listen on your smart speaker, live stream from our website at WFPK.org, from Louisville Public Media.